Okay, so it's time to start working on the next part of this cabinet. Last time went ahead and I got it stood up, I got the back and the sides put together. Now I need to start working on filling in the rest. I think I walked through a spider web, so got like maybe mini spiders spinning webs on me. I don't know what's going on. It's really annoying though. Anyway, so pretty much what we got to worry about now is getting the bottom portion on and closing in the rest of it. But I also want to start planning out the screen portion as well as the controller area. So what I found was that I actually managed to make a really good happy coincidence, we'll call it. So I've got these two posts that are hanging up here, these two 2x4s, and they've created pretty much a perfect platform for me to slide one of these on, and that pretty much does exactly what I wanted to do, which is function as a place for me to maybe place a monitor. That way I wouldn't have to mount it in there any other way. I could just kind of put it in, set it back there, and use the stand that comes with it. Or I could just use it as kind of a divider. There's all kinds of options for what I can do with this. But it actually worked out really well. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the sizes are about the same. So from here to here and here to here, these two little notches here are the same distance. I mean, I can tell it's my eyeball, and it's the same. It's close enough anyway, so within about 1/8 of an inch. So all I really need to do at this point is make a mark on either side. And what I'm going to do from there is take that mark and then I'm going to extend it out as far as I want the control deck to stand out. And from what I was thinking, it would be about 3 inches or so. So 3 inches is not a whole lot. Actually, I think my initial thought was 5 or 6 inches. Yeah, I think it was 6 inches. So I'm going to have it extend out an additional 6 inches because that looks like a little bit more space to me. Maybe, yeah, we'll do 5 just to meet in the middle. No, 6. It's going to be 6. I don't want to undercut it and then not have enough. I can always cut more off later if I needed to. But, that's how I'm going to do that. And that's actually going to give me the chance that once I cut that piece, I can actually start drilling that and getting the buttons put in and planning out how I'm going to do my buttons. So in order to cut that, I'm just going to use the table saw again. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll actually even use I can't use the miter gauge, unfortunately. Well, maybe I can. No, not really. Anyway, I'm going to cut it with something. And when I do, yeah, you know what? I'm going to use the skill saw because that's a better option. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to cut it and we'll end up with a nice flush cut, straight, and that'll be pretty much it. We'll just be able to move on from there. So I'll be right back. I'm going to set up the camera and then we'll get started. I went ahead and got my everything set up here. I went ahead and drew my lines. I've got my guide here, kind of like my makeshift fence, set up so that I can go ahead and make this cut. So pretty much just like before. Also keep in mind, when you're doing something like this, I'm using kind of an extension piece on my table saw so that it'll catch this when it drops. When you're doing something like that, make sure that you have your saw set. If you move this little bottom piece, you can make it so it's only going to cut so deep. I've made it so it's not going to cut into my table saw. So just a nice pro tip before you get started. But here we go. Oh, by the way, pro tip number 2. Tools require power. So there we go. Power. Got it. Orange light means ready. Okay. There we go. Alright. We got a nice clean edge, straight cut. I can tell it's straight because my eyeballs, that's not true. I can tell it's straight because I can just pull my speed square out and square that way. and square that way. So good to go. Of course, it being square highly depends on one side, well, my reference side is being straight. So, you know, what I found is that none of the boards that I've been getting have been really perfectly square. So, kind of just making do with what I've got, because, you know, a little bit of isn't going to make that much of a difference to me, because at the end of the day it's going to do the same thing anyway. But we'll get this board over to the cabinet and we'll get started on putting the shelf in. Alright, so nothing too fancy here. Pretty much just going to figure out the long side here and place it right inside. Now, there is one thing that I need to worry about, and that's going to be something in the back to support it a little bit, because I do have this 2x4 right here that's supporting it, but back here in the back there's nothing really supporting it other than, you know, it falls into the pieces in the back. So what I can do is I can actually take another piece of wood, or really actually I could use a screw and just not screw it in all the way, and use that to kind of hold up the board. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because it's a pretty easy trick. The way I'm going to do that is I need to grab my pencil and I'll make a quick mark and kick things on the way. What I need to do is just make a mark on the back two 2x4s, and I'm going to use that as kind of a reference line, and understand that my screw needs to be basically I got this right. Need to make sure that my screw is there. So I want my screw to be a little bit in that range. But I'm going to mark on the bottom side also. That way I'll know, you know, I'll have pretty much a range for where I want the screw to be. I'm supposed to let that break. So I'll try to get it better. It's going to be hard to see the mark, but let's see. So basically I made a mark here and here, and that gives me an idea of where the top and the bottom of the board are. So if I know the top bottom board's here, top's here, all I gotta do is put a screw in right below that lip, and as long as the screw head's popping up a little bit, it'll be in this perfect spot to hold this board up as it stands. So I'm gonna go grab my drill, take this out the way. And then put a couple screws in. Alright, so we'll start off on this one, I suppose, since I'm already aimed that way. And I'm pretty much just going where I think it's going to need to be. If I screw up, I can always bend it a little bit. So I've drilled the screw in most of the way so it doesn't bend too much. I pretty much drilled it in to the last thread, and then I'll just let it sit. And then I'll do the same thing over on this side. If I can find my mark, there it is. Oops. All right, there we go. I'll back that out just a little bit. There. All right, so with that done, all I need to do is slot this back in and make sure they're in a good spot. All right, there we go, good. So my screws are keeping it from going down too much in either direction. This one's got a little bit more of a gap to it, so it's going to be kind of a problem just because of the way it's sitting, but I can always fix that later. So yeah, that being done means that all I got to do now at this point is let the camera see me. So, well, I'm falling over. Okay, everything's fine. So all I gotta do now at this point is I gotta go ahead and get the front part of the cabinet done. So take a look at that. So now I want to get the front piece of this cabinet done. By the way, it's a good time to check and make sure, you know, if this is going to be a good spot for me to be. So this means at least there's be plenty of room for, you know, controllers. So my joysticks here and here. You know, 6 buttons, 6 buttons, 6 buttons, 6 buttons. Maybe a start and select for either player. You know, and you got the room here. The thing is, you want to have room for both players, right? So, you know, it's not going to be a giant thing. So, you know, 2-player game, you're going to be close to somebody, whatever. But yeah. So I'm going to now need to measure up how high I need the board for this piece to go in. Truthfully, it doesn't actually have to go. It's not going to have. It's not going to be able to. It doesn't have to go all the way up to the top here, because if I meet it, then the problem is that I won't leave any gap for me to put the electronics in. So what I need to do is go about 3 inches to 4 inches, depending on what my drawing said. I believe it was 4 inches that I wanted to make this high. That way I got enough space for all the electronics and the wires and all that kind of stuff, which I don't need a whole lot, because truthfully, it's a Raspberry Pi. I just need room to clear the buttons, but 4 inches seems like a pretty good amount. So what I'm going to need to do is mark off 4 inches and then measure what that distance is. And once I have that distance, I just cut the board to that size and then screw it in. That's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pencil out again. Hey, I found a beetle or something. It's amazing the amount of weird, random bugs you find in the South. All right. If you live there, you know. All right. So I've got my 4 inches here. I'm just going to mark it off. In fact, I'll go ahead and lower the camera down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Now that it's not all that crazy or anything. So right here, yeah. So I found my mark for 4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and mark that off on the side here. And then all I gotta do is measure the distance from there to there. And that'll tell me how tall my board needs to be. So 34.5 on the dot. So that's easy. Go back to the table saw with another 2x4 piece, which is this piece I have standing by over here anyway. And I'm gonna take that, measure off 34.5 inches, cut it to that size, and then we'll be ready to go and screw that one in. All right, so as you can see, I've got my pieces squared up, and I've got my makeshift fence in place, and all I gotta do at this point is do the cut. And in fact, this is powered up this time, as the orange light indicates. So we'll just do the quick cut. Very important that you follow through when you're using the circular saw when you get to the edge, because it's real easy to cut and then just kind of come off at an edge here and leave a jagged side or not a flush cut. So very important to follow through as best you can so you get as flush and smooth a cut as you can. So I'm ready to go ahead and screw this in place. Of course, there is a minor problem, which is the fact that it does sit up off the ground a little bit. So the way I'm going to fix that, or kind of get around that, is I've got another 2x4. So I'm just going to take another 2x4 like this, or actually, better option. These are slightly less thicker. So I've got these 2 boards that I'll use to kind of push it up and support it while I'm putting the screws in. So easy little hack I'm doing there. So that's why you keep your scrap wood handy. I'll put these down on the floor. Those are pretty good. Let's play piece in place. Okay. You know what? I think I'll use one more piece. I got this over sand here, so might as well. There we go. That's dead nuts right there. Okay, so I'll grab the screws, and I'm just going to screw this right into the front, and that'll be easy. I got a good view on here. Again, making sure that we get these countersunk in a decent amount. So another thing to keep track of is while you're doing this, you want to make sure that that you're closing this gap here, because they're not going to be, held together it's not going to be the super tightest fit, so just to make sure, put a little pressure on it. What I call putting the old butt clamps on it to make sure that you are getting a good tight, it's a good tight connection between the two, and that there's not a whole lot of outward cant to either side. Oh, that kind of hurt. Whew. Really sucks when the screw refuses to dig in. And you hit your finger twice because I'm at an angle, because I'm trying to make it, easy to see. Ah. So that's actually going to require a Band-Aid here in a second. just a little bit of an ouch there. But it's okay. I can persist and persevere. I don't need Canada's free health care. From what I hear, they try to kill you anyway. Hey? Sorry if I've offended someone today, but I don't really care. I guess that means sorry, not sorry. Whatever. I even got blood on my drill. Sweet. So I'm gonna wipe my drill off and put a Band-Aid on. Probably gonna wash my finger too, just to, be sure I don't get any kind of strange infection. So that's always possible. Alright, there we go. So, front panel screwed on. I haven't screwed this board on yet because I'm actually going to end up taking that off to do some drawing to figure out how I'm going to do the controls on there. Just kind of draw it out before I do the actual holes. But yeah, this is feeling pretty much right now. This is about exactly how I wanted it. So the only thing I got to figure out now is how much space I've got for the screen. I've also got to put a piece up here on the top to close it in, as well as start working on this marquee section and another spot here. And yeah, that's about it. This I'm actually going to leave open like this, and I'm going to do a screen that's going to come, or a piece that's going to come up like this, and it'll meet up there. So, and that's all going to kind of depend a little bit on how the screen fits in there. But that'll be for after I wash my finger and my drill bit and put a Band-Aid on. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my finger nice and bandaged up. I forgot to clean off my drill though. Probably gonna take care of that. Anyway, aside from that, you'll notice that I've gone ahead and put a piece on the top here. I haven't screwed it in or figured out how I'm gonna do it quite yet. Wow, blood really, wow, that's kind of cool. It's like the iron on the blood, in the blood is like sticking to the magnetic surface. That's a better shot. If blood bothers you, I apologize. So, at any rate, yeah. So I've gone ahead. I've got this set up. What I'm thinking about doing here is I don't actually need to do anything too crazy up here. I can actually mount this on in a fairly simple way. So what I'm thinking is cut two just straight pieces of 2x4 and place them along this line here on either side, and that will actually give me a nice solid joint to keep it on there, and that'll be all I need to really do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a quick measurement, and looks like yeah, about a 1 foot piece. It's a little more than a foot. It's about 15 inches on either side that I've got open. But 1 foot of 2x4 is going to give me plenty of space to drill 2 screws in, and yeah, that'll hold it in place real easy. I got my 1 foot piece of 2x4 cut out here, so real easy. I'm going to grab 2 screws, and I'm actually just going to start them about where I think the board's going to be. So that's what the wobbly stuff. So I think here's going to be a good spot. So I'm starting these screws here because it gives me, I'll make it easier for me to actually screw them into the board once I get it in place. Alright, there we go. One there. And then should be able to put one about here as well. Your mileage may vary. Okay, so now I just take my glue, put a generous dollop on, throw my glue on the floor. It's a little bit clogged. I get mad at the glue. Not really. Probably should have just cleaned the tip out. Anyway, so put a nice healthy dollop of glue on here. I'm not trying to impress anybody with this glue. Alright, so wipe the excess off onto something else because, you know, we're lazy. Alright, so now I'm just going to hold this up in place. Make sure that it's in a good spot for both my screws here. Looks like it is. And then I'll go ahead and screw one in. Screw the other in. Good, good. And make sure the countersunk in enough. Good. Yep. There we go. So that's one piece on there. And that'll hold the top on real well. And then all I gotta do from here on this side is put in 2 more screws. So I'll need a ladder because I'm not that tall. And I'll do the other side as well because it's just as easy. So now really all I gotta do is I got glue seeping out, so that means I got it tight. Alright, so these spiders. I think I brought home spiders in the wood I got or something. Anyway, pretty much now all I gotta do is get the glue cleaned up a little bit because it's bothering me. So now I gotta just put a piece up here to cover that portion, and then another piece will come down and go here, and that'll meet up where I'm going to put my screen at. And also where I stick my hand in the bottle of glue I forgot to close, and again, clean the lid off. That's called karma. Okay, so I'm doing it. Do you see me doing it, karma gods? I'm doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this top piece here and figure out how far or how big of a piece I need to cover up the marquee section. The marquee section. Alright, so looks like it's about 6 inches on either side. I'm going to go a little bit shorter than that, about, I'll say, well, I got 6 and a half. Okay, I got 6 and a half either side, so I'll do 6. So if I do a 6-inch piece, that makes my life easy. And I actually may have one already. Oh, so close. Darn, thought I had a 6-inch piece already cut. Oh well. So I'll be able to take this piece here, cut it down to 6 inches. And I'll just cut that down to 6 inches. I actually already got an angle on this one, so that's useful. But if I cut it to 6 inches, I'll be able to just kind of screw that into this piece right here, and then we're all set. The last thing I'll need to do is probably put another piece on here, another 2x4 piece, so I have something to brace the part that I'm going to put right here. But that'll be an issue for another time after I get this piece on. So, important thing when you're building stuff, just do it a piece at a time. And I've got my 6-inch board here. The magic of editing. Alright, so yeah, it was pretty easy. Just use a table saw with the fence, didn't have to do anything crazy. I actually didn't need to use the skill saw for that one. Just plain old table saw with the fence. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 screws on the corners of this, or not really the corners, more like about maybe 2 inches down on the sides. Yeah, I kind of forgot that that wasn't on stable ground there. Alrighty, didn't hurt my finger that time. Sometimes these nails just don't want to find purchase. Like that, just doesn't want to do it. I say nail, I meant screw. As in, you're screwing me right now. Get in there. It's amazing. Some just go right in and some just jerks. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to do it on the opposite side. About the same. And I'm only going to need 2 screws to hold this in place. Now, something you'll notice when I put this up here, there's going to be a bit of an overhang here, which is actually what I want. I want this to actually be like that. I want to have this inlay right here. So I did purposely leave it like that. You could go ahead and do an angle cut here and make it all flush and everything, but I kind of like that. I like having some overhang, some lip. That actually makes me happy. So we'll call that good. In place. Okay. As is that one. And just do one more screw on both sides for good measure. Oh God! Why? Why twice in one day? Love my life. No, I don't. Good Lord, that hurts. God, these freaking screws today. Oh, you just are a real bastard. I gotta grab another Band-Aid. All right, I've got 2 Band-Aid fingers now, so, oh my Lord, why? Not my day today. It took me pretty much all day to be able to get started on this, and then I injured myself twice. Just putting in screws. Not cutting not like in the stuff that would have really been cool, like sawing off a finger or something. No, I just blunt force trauma with a drill. 2 fingers. Wow, this one is not like going either. Here we go. I'm gonna listen there. Not putting my finger in the way again. So I need to. Oh, it's because it's on freaking 1. Duh. That's my fault. Because I'm stupid. Okay. I'm not sure if the first one was because I had it on low speed or not. But the second one probably was. Well, maybe. I don't know. Should we sink these in? Yeah, that's good. Right there. One more. There, good. So I've got all my screws countersunk in appropriately. I've got 2 injured fingers appropriately. And now I just need to go ahead and get another board in here to figure out how far I need back, or how far back I need to put that. Now, I really don't have there's no like set measurement that I need to do for it, but I'm thinking I want this to go in, we'll say about 7 inches. So I want about a 7-inch board, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a 7-inch board, and try not to cut a finger off. I'm not going to record it because if I did cut my finger off, I just have to edit that out anyway. So be right back with a 7-inch board. So I got my 7-inch board here. No injuries, no problems, luckily. So pretty much what I'm going to do here is I just have to slot this in and kind of figure out an angle that I want to put it at. And then I got to mark it with the pencil that I don't have readily available because, you know, that's kind of the way I've been doing things today. No plans, just doing things. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this off. And I'm going to get it to where I want it and then just kind of draw lines. And I try to not move it while I'm doing so. But it's hard when the damn thing wobbles because of the uneven floor. Thanks, builders. Alright, now I gotta get that in the same line. Alright, so there we go. I don't know if that's right or not. I have to double check. That. We'll go here and here, there, and lead. All right, there we go. So I got my lines drawn. What I'm going to do now is basically I just have to figure out something to put on there to hold it in place, just like the 2x4s. I don't think, well, positive pretty much. A 2x4 is going to be too thick to really be that, so kind of what I have to do is cut this down to, I'd say about 3 inches. So I need about 3-inch pieces of this, and then once I get to 3 inches, I'll just cut it in half, and then I'll have 2 pieces, and then I'll be ready to go. So that's what I'm going to do real quick, so I'll be right back. I got my 2 pieces here. Just basically took one 2x4, cut it to the length I wanted, and then cut it in half, and there we go, 2 pieces. So what I'll do with these is I'm going to do basically the exact same strategy I did with the top piece. What I'm going to need to do a little bit differently though is I need to pretty much get these set along the lines that I drew. And the thing about that is I got to know how thick this piece is, which I'm pretty sure it's going to show me about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch. Yeah, actually right about 1/2. So good on them. It actually is the 1/2-inch size that they said it was going to be. So that means I need to do a line a 1/2 inch above where the actual line is, just to give myself kind of a guide. I'm going to just put in a screw here, mark that off and drill it in. And I'm going to set to the appropriate setting this time because that makes things better. Also, when I put the drill bit on the correct portion of the screw. Alright, so that's on there good. Same thing on the other side, and we're ready to go with putting on the final, pretty much the final piece before it's ready to go as far as getting the screen portion ready. Well, this is going to be kind of a bit of pain, but we'll see what happens. So that's in place. Only a couple more places where I can injure myself now. So I just have to put this on, butt it up against the pieces that will accept it, and that's pretty much it. So just have to get kind of a rough idea of where my screw holes are going to be, and I'll start the screws down here where it makes sense, so that I'm not, going up at an angle and more likely to injure myself yet again. Okay, so got a little sanding to do here to kind of smooth that out. That's the nice thing about sanders is they remove all kinds of little imperfections. So we'll get that done next time. So pretty much what I've got left to do at this point as far as the construction side of things is I just need to get the panel done that's going to be for the screen, I'm kind of thinking it might not be needed on the sides as much as just, you know, top and the bottom to fit the widescreen that I have. Yeah, that's about it. So I'll see you on the next one. I hope you've enjoyed my pain, my misery. Oh, also I need to finish the control box, but that'll be a separate set of construction stuff in Lowe's. But all right, back to the sign off. So thanks again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my pain and my misery and my triumph, which occasionally does happen. It's rare, but it does happen. But I'll see you on the next one. It helps me out a lot when you guys like, subscribe, comment. Like I said, still trying to figure out what I want to do for a paint scheme and junk, and maybe some button configurations too. Hell, throw a bunch of ideas at me, because I'm going to probably wait until next week to actually do the control portion section. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and figure all that out. Until then, just like, comment, subscribe, help me get myself monetized again, because you know I only got about 890 or so, 800, something like that, 850. Is that how many subscribers I got right now? I don't know, but announcement. So I am going to, since I am trying so hard to get my subscriber base up, I do have a ton of games from my Humble Bundle monthly subscription, because I buy a lot of games that I have Humble Bundle monthly, because you know I just do. A lot of the games don't interest me, and I got a lot of Steam codes, so I'm willing to give away a lot of Steam keys, and I'm probably going to give away 10. So I'll have a choice of games, and what I'm going to do is for 10 subscribers, I'm going to randomly pick once I get to 1,000. And the 10 subscribers I pick, first one gets first pick, second one gets second pick, blah, blah, blah. But I've got a ton of games, so you'll get a pick. I'll just put that list out there, and if you want one of those games, if I randomly select you, there you go, you get it. So you got a 1 in 1,000 chance just by being a subscriber. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see what I can do to get you some stuff. And that's it. See you next time. Time to die.